Sheryl Swoopes, she can't not try to light a fire involving Caitlin Clark. She can't just be good. She's trolling Caitlin Clark again, this time by celebrating the arrival.
Sheryl Swoopes has made headlines once again after her recent departure from the WNBA, this time by appearing on Gilbert Arenas' podcast wearing a Paige Buckers t-shirt. While this might seem like an endorsement of the talented young player, it's actually a calculated jab at Caitlin Clark, cleverly masked as support for someone else. Swoopes has gained a reputation for subtly undermining Clark's achievements, and this latest move only reinforces that. It's clear that her campaign to diminish Clark's accomplishments remains relentless and ongoing, signaling the intense rivalry and dynamics within the women's basketball sphere. Swoopes' actions continue to provoke discussion and interest.
With that being said, you big dummies, you getting paid now.
Right.
You asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Let's be honest. The more Caitlin Clark shines, the more it seems to unsettle some former stars who aren't ready to share the spotlight. Instead of nurturing the next generation of talent, Sheryl Swoopes has chosen a more bitter approach. Rather than passing the torch, she appears to be guarding it as if it were her retirement fund. Fans aren't oblivious to this behavior. They recognize the pattern and perceive it as increasingly desperate. The ongoing tension reflects the challenges of transitioning in a sport where legacy and recognition hold significant weight.
Or get replaced during the Fever game for the Dallas Wings commentary team last year because of words and the hate she had towards Caitlin Clark. And it was just one thing after another. I said yesterday, even Stephen A. Smith crushed her.
This isn't about promoting Paige or elevating the game. It's about perpetuating the outdated narrative that Caitlin Clark doesn't belong. Let's be honest, this sentiment is growing stale quickly. The focus should be on celebrating talent rather than undermining it, as such attitudes only hinder the sport's progress.
When she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to that has vets on that team, she probably ain't gonna get 40 shots.
Caitlin didn't seek the spotlight, she earned it through record-breaking performances, consistent excellence, and an unteachable level of poise. She didn't climb to prominence due to media favoritism or political statements. Her success came solely from her remarkable gameplay. No theatrics, no drama, just pure dominance. If you're frustrated by WNBA veterans trying to act as gatekeepers in this manner, feel free to drop a CC for MVP in the comments. This behavior is not only shady, it's calculated, and we're not here for it. It's time to focus on talent and progress rather than outdated tactics that undermine the spirit of the game.
Caitlin is fantastic, and I think she's going to have an incredible career in the WNBA.
Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark.
What is she doing wrong? What more do you want from Caitlin Clark? Seriously, what more do you want from her? She's focusing on the game. She lifted her team up, got them to the playoffs, won Rookie of the Year, and then also is denouncing racial tensions when she's asked about it. I'm sorry, I don't see anything more that Caitlin Clark should have done or could have done.
Let's not deceive ourselves. This tension isn't new. Swoopes has had her eyes on Clark long before Caitlin ever entered the professional arena. This isn't just a one-off misunderstanding or an isolated quote taken out of context. This is a deliberate campaign, a continuous stream of comments, criticisms, and strategic jabs aimed at overshadowing the spotlight that Clark has rightfully earned. It's time to recognize this pattern and focus on celebrating, not undermining, the incredible talent in the sport.
She was remarkable on top of the fact that she had to deal with so much hate when she got to the WNBA.
I can't imagine this young lady, I don't want to use hate, but despised. And people just having, she brought some on herself a little bit because she's cocky for a good reason.
Confident.
And I love that about her. But to watch the dynamics and the media, they had their narrative. And I was pleased and proud to see the narrative wasn't.
From casting side-eye during Clark's historic college run to undermining her influence on the league before she was even drafted, Swoopes has made her position unmistakably clear. Remember when she attempted to dismiss Caitlin's record-breaking NCAA tournament performance? Or how she was pulled from commentary roles due to her anti-Clark sentiment? Even Stephen A. Smith had to step in, remarking, "Okay, Sheryl, this is getting ridiculous." It's evident that this feud isn't just personal, it reflects a deeper issue within the league regarding recognition and respect for rising talent like Caitlin Clark.
It's a stupid decision because it compromises what your ultimate goal is, which is to elevate the WNBA brand.
That's not merely a hot take, that suggests someone has an agenda. When your criticism is so pronounced that it leads to being benched by networks, something is definitely amiss. What we're witnessing transcends personal feelings, it's professional insecurity masquerading as analysis. Swoopes isn't just concerned with Caitlyn's success, she's anxious that Clark might surpass her, outperforming in ratings, gameplay, and paving the way for a brighter future for the W. This dynamic reveals deeper issues within the sport and its representation of emerging talent.
A lot of these women are doing is they feel like what we have done for this game, this young player has come into our game and she's getting way more respect and all that stuff than we are. As she should. The young girl is a baller. The young girl has people watching because of the way she can shoot this basketball like Steph Curry. Steph Curry can't dunk. Steph Curry don't do none of that in the game. He can probably dunk by himself, but he don't really do none of that in the game. He is a shooter, and fans tune in to see Steph Curry.
Caitlin Clark's rookie season has already surpassed some of the most legendary performances in WNBA history, including Swoopes' own MVP run. This isn't a diss, it's simply data. Instead of celebrating the emergence of a once-in-a-generation talent, Swoopes has chosen to be Clark's most vocal critic, driven not by basketball reason but by a desire to maintain control. Caitlyn's success reshapes the narrative, and Swoopes appears uncomfortable with that shift. She no longer holds the pen in shaping the story, and it seems to unsettle her position in the league's history.
Up and be mad. Never forget, in Swoopes' MVP season, she averaged less points, assists, and rebounds than Caitlin Clark's rookie season. Caitlin Clark's rookie year was quite a bit better than Sheryl Swoopes' MVP season.
What do you do when your legacy feels at risk? You cling to relevance. What better way to reignite your name in the conversation than to provoke the player everyone is talking about? By targeting the most talked about athlete in the game, you draw attention back to yourself, desperately trying to remain in the spotlight as others eclipse your legacy. It's a tactic that reveals insecurity and a need for affirmation.
Jax, you're absolutely right. And I was like, come on, you big dummies. Is she getting hyped? Yes. But she was in the backyard. She was putting in the same time, sometimes maybe more than you were.
Right.
I can't fault her for what she was given.
So yes, the WNBA was growing before Caitlin Clark. Make that abundantly clear. But it was growing incrementally compared to the exponential growth.
This leads us to the t-shirt incident, where Swoopes appeared wearing Paige Bucker's name as if it were just a fashion statement. Please, she knew precisely what message she was sending. This wasn't a gesture of support for a rising star, it was a subtle dig. The statement in cotton conveyed a clear sentiment. I'll back a white player, just not that particular one. It was a calculated move designed to provoke and draw attention.
Good, look at this. Just stays mad. Were y'all talking about Caitlin Clark at this very moment? She knows what she's doing.
Let's not overlook that Swoopes has never previously shown this level of support for Paige Buckers. Yet the moment Caitlin Clark began dominating the headlines, suddenly Paige became the new poster child. Give me a break. The move was glaringly obvious. Buckers fits the ideological mold preferred by WNBA legacy insiders: politically engaged, socially aligned, and malleable. In contrast, Caitlin doesn't conform to this mold. She doesn't play the political game or chase trending causes. She simply plays with relentless passion and extraordinary skill. This stark difference illustrates the underlying dynamics at play, revealing more than just support, but also the politics inherent in the sport.
Now, I've got a theory. Oh, look at me. I'm not really racist because I'm wearing the white girl's shirt. You see that? But the girl from the Midwest, y'all just happen to hate her completely.
That's what frightens people like Sheryl Swoopes. Caitlin Clark doesn't seek their approval or conform to their expectations. She's confident enough to rewrite the rules of the game entirely, playing on her own terms without needing to engage in their politics.
Only problem with this is, and this has been the problem the whole time with the Paige-Caitlin comparison, Paige is an activist basketball player just like these old WNBA players that's been in the league. All right? They're shilling she's all up in all the social stuff. And so that's why they're letting her in. That's why they're cool with her.
Let's not kid ourselves. This was never really about Paige. It was a passive-aggressive subtweet disguised as support. It's the oldest trick in the book, pitting women against each other to convey a message that one is too afraid to express openly. However, fans are more discerning now. They recognize Swoopes' history, her subtle jabs, and the established patterns. So, when she dons that shirt, they don't interpret it as genuine support. Instead, they perceive it as pettiness and projection. What they really see is someone still grappling with being overshadowed as the face of women's basketball, unable to embrace the new era.
The reason that Caitlin Clark is getting all of this attention is because she is an anomaly. She is a phenomenal player. And Paige Bueckers is also a phenomenal player, but it just isn't the same. She doesn't do the same things. She doesn't do the things that have never been seen.
The most disheartening aspect is that Paige Bueckers deserves far better than to be utilized as a pawn in someone else's grudge. She is an exceptional player in her own right and shouldn't be manipulated to serve as a weapon against Caitlin Clark. Bueckers has her own achievements and identity. Using her to bolster another's argument diminishes her talents and contributions to the sport. She deserves recognition for her own merits, independent of anyone else's agenda.
We want to see Caitlin Clark and we want to see Paige Bueckers.
Caitlin scored more points per game, but Paige was more efficient.
Ultimately, this comes down to one undeniable truth. Caitlin Clark's success is inevitable, and no amount of shade can change that. Sheryl, you can don as many shirts as you like, but the stats, the fans, and the future are all championing one name: Clark. The focus should be on celebrating talent and achievements rather than trying to undermine someone else's rise. The spotlight is firmly on Caitlin, and it's not going anywhere.
They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. She has it. She's got the thing.
And for Caitlin Clark to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much.
Let's cut to the chase. Sheryl Swoopes isn't upset because Caitlin Clark is overrated. She's frustrated because Clark's talent is undeniable. This has revealed some deep-seated insecurities among those who once dominated the conversation in women's basketball. When a fresh face enters the scene and naturally commands attention without conforming to traditional expectations, the established gatekeepers start to feel threatened. This dynamic captures the current tension with Sheryl Swoopes and the older generation in the WNBA, who are grappling with a new era of talent that defies the status quo.
By a point guard in a season in WNBA history, most double-doubles by a rookie guard in WNBA history, most points by a rookie in WNBA history, most assists by a rookie in the history of the WNBA, first WNBA rookie to record 2 triple-doubles, first triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history, first triple-double in Fever history, the first player to be named WNBA Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month in the same month, first player in WNBA history with 20 or more points, 15 or more assists, and 5 or more rebounds.
Instead of recognizing Clark's undeniable impact, Swoopes resorts to antics like wearing a Paige Bueckers shirt. While she may think it's a clever display of support, we all recognize it for what it truly is: a shallow deflection and a veiled passive-aggressive jab. This reaction comes from her discomfort rather than genuine celebration. The most frustrating part is that Swoopes underestimates fans, believing we won't see through the ruse, but we consistently understand the underlying motives.
In her sophomore year and really in her junior year, just started excelling and doing things that nobody had ever seen a female basketball player do. Like, nobody had consistently been shooting these from the logo passes.
The uncomfortable truth is that Caitlin Clark has achieved more in a single season to elevate the WNBA than many veterans did throughout their careers. This isn't shade, it's a straightforward reality. We're witnessing sold-out games, record-breaking viewership, significant revenue increases, and jersey sales that outpace even top NBA players. Clark is igniting enthusiasm in areas where the league previously struggled to gain traction. Gyms in Iowa are now filled with kids who hadn't even heard of the WNBA before her. This isn't hype, it's tangible impact, and no t-shirt can diminish that. We need to confront the reality that the ongoing undermining of Caitlin Clark stems less from her shortcomings and more from the insecurities of others fearing their fading relevance. Swoopes is reluctant to accept that Clark isn't merely one of the greats. She's already standing shoulder to shoulder with them and in some areas surpassing them. This recognition can be difficult for someone like Swoopes, whose identity is tied to being a pioneer of the sport. Yet being a legend doesn't mean tearing down the next generation. It means celebrating their achievements while recognizing the evolving landscape of the game. Embracing change is essential for the continued growth of women's basketball.
So many players who cite you as an inspiration for their games, including Caitlin Clark, who's just absolutely a phenomenon in college. What's that next step like for her?
You know, next steps, gosh, in this generation, right? You have, I think, just so many more challenges of how to handle yourself as an adult, right? You go through that whirlwind of being a senior in college, transitioning into the W. And then the next step is how to become just an even better leader. And so much of leadership, I think, is listening and learning. And hopefully the more she can get connected to vets in the league and just different people and coaches and anyone that she can glean wisdom from of how to just continue to learn how to be as a connected and inspiring leader as she can be. And a lot of that is walking the walk and not just talking the talk. So she's already on her way, but, continuing to have fun, continuing to anticipate how people are going to try to stop her and being prepared as she can be for next season.
Let's be clear. This isn't about Caitlin Clark avoiding politics. It's about how threatening it is when someone excels without conforming to the unwritten rules. Clark doesn't seek approval from established legacy figures. She isn't molding her persona to fit the ideological narratives that have long been entrenched in the league storyline. She simply plays, and in doing so, she's triggering an identity crisis within the WNBA's inner circle. Every time she's fouled, the coverage isn't focused on the physicality of the game, but rather on whether she deserves the spotlight. Let's not deceive ourselves. If this were any other rookie, the league would be rolling out the red carpet. However, because Clark doesn't align with the narratives they've spent years cultivating, she's treated like an intruder. Meanwhile, other players can throw elbows, make shady remarks, and lose games, yet still receive applause. Why? Because they conform to the expectations and maintain the narrative. Clark's rise challenges the status quo, and that's what makes her presence so powerful and, for some, so unsettling.
I remember when the WNBA started. I was thrilled. I was a fan. I couldn't believe it was an opportunity for me, a 5'2", 97-pound girl, to go play professional basketball. That wasn't going to happen for me, but the idea that it existed was special to me. And now she's offering that to not just little girls, but little boys as well. She's spread the fan base.
Swoopes and others like her aren't criticizing Caitlin Clark from a place of mentorship or genuine concern. This is about ego and control. Clark's rise is fundamentally reshaping the WNBA's power dynamics, which is understandably unsettling for those who help establish its foundation. The reality is, you don't stop a rising tide by scoffing at the waves. You either learn to surf or risk getting swept away. Let's revisit the numbers. Clark's rookie season stats didn't just impress, they shattered expectations. With accolades like Rookie of the Month, Player of the Week, and fan-voted All-Star, she's amassing recognition faster than ESPN can report it. Yet the narrative often shifts to her attitude or perceived lack of activism, as if exceptional athletic performance needs to meet arbitrary prerequisites. It's absurd. Caitlin Clark owes nothing to anyone except the game itself, and she has delivered outstandingly on every level, showcasing talent that transcends outdated expectations and fostering a fresh narrative for the sport.
Rookie of the Month 4 times, Eastern Conference Player of the Week 3 times, single-season rookie record for assists, single-season rookie record for three-pointers, single-game record for assists, 19, franchise record for most double-doubles, three-pointers, career 10 or more assists in a game, franchise record for most career 10 or more assists in a game. Fastest WNBA player to reach 100 three-pointers. She did it in 34 games, most assists by a rookie in a WNBA All-Star game, for which she received the most fan votes ever, 700,000 of those. Fastest player to reach 350 points and 150 assists to start a season, regardless of years in the league. People will say, pay more attention to the other folks. Like, she couldn't do it herself. You know, LeBron has teammates, Jordan had teammates.
The recent stunt by Swoopes on Gilbert Arenas' podcast was nothing more than a calculated PR move masquerading as fandom. She didn't wear a Paige Beckers shirt because she's a devoted UConn fan. She chose it as a way to subtly undermine Caitlin Clark while pretending to remain neutral. It sends the message, I don't dislike all young white stars, just the one who threatens my legacy. This strategy drips with passive aggressiveness. Let's not drag Paige Becker into this. She deserves her own spotlight on her own terms without being co-opted as a symbol of an acceptable rising star. The WNBA doesn't need another skirmish of coded favoritism. What it truly needs is honesty. And the fact is, Caitlin Clark has generated more national attention for the league than anyone else in the past 20 years. Her presence and performance are significant, and rather than being undermined, she should be celebrated as a transformative figure in the sport.
Almost felt like marketers were trying to figure out, like, yeah, we have all of these amazing players and these amazing personalities, but can we push the demographic? And then when Caitlin Clark got to the league, the Angel Reeses got to the league, and they might have been fouled hard. The same thing I saw happen with Shamika Holdsclaw, though.
You see my tooth knocked out?
Yeah,
Rookie season, Jewel Lloyd. My tooth knocked out. I still didn't get it.
So how do you?
It's cool.
T-Clark, how do you feel about the fact that all of a sudden it was, oh, it's too physical. Oh, they're going at them because they're stars. What was your reaction to some of the new viewers and fans to the game thinking that the WNBA was too rough?
It was a crazy season because we have never had so much momentum behind our league, so much support, demand, viewership, all that, accessibility. But the craziness that came with the new fandom was rooted in something other than fandom, right? And I think that's very evident to see across the board. In a lot of ways, it has not been about basketball. Like, we can talk about, you know, people getting fouled. I just showed you my tooth getting knocked out. Like, that's been a part of the game. The game has always been physical.
While Swoopes clings to the past, Caitlin Clark is actively shaping the future. She's leading the charge, drawing fans and making headlines. Not through controversy, but through sheer competence. Clark isn't engaging in culture wars. She's simply focused on the game and performing at an elite level, outpacing many in the process. Let critics roll their eyes and make backhanded remarks. Let them wear their t-shirts. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is doing what legacy players should have embraced, transforming the WNBA into primetime television. She's showing up, executing her role, and reigniting passion for women's basketball. Ultimately, isn't that the mission? To elevate the sport and make it impossible for people to ignore its significance?
It's blown up into, oh, they're going after Caitlin Clark, but no, we're just playing one of the best players that's in this league the way that any other best player, franchise player is going to get played. Watch how Stewie gets played. Watch how Asia gets played. Watch how Arike gets played. Watch how Khalid gets played. Go down the list of franchise players for every team. They be getting fucked up every game. It don't matter what position you are, what color you are, what school you came out of. This is how we feed our families. Our job is to go and win, and if we don't win, what happens? We get fired. We lose our job.
As the noise continues to rise and the critics persist, remember this. True legends don't seek validation. They demonstrate their greatness night after night on the court. Caitlin Clark is doing just that, breaking records, filling seats, and silencing critics who can hardly believe what they're seeing. Sheryl Swoopes can wear all the t-shirts she wants, and Angel Reese can throw shade as they please, but while they're wrapped up in social media theatrics, Caitlin Clark is focused on what truly matters, playing basketball and winning. And in doing so, she's setting a standard that can't be ignored. So if you're excited to see Caitlin Clark back on the court, type CC in the comments. If you enjoyed, leave, like, and subscribe. More videos are on screen now.